Stagey Bookish. My name is Olivia. Thank you for coming to visit me on what, quite frankly, here in the UK and the day I'm filming this, is a gloomy evening. We are apparently on the eve of the worst storm the UK has ever seen in 7 years. And I don't know what to say to you other than that, but yes, we're keeping warm, we're keeping snug, we got the books to read, we got the snacks in, and it is all gonna be good. I am here today for a very, very overdue book haul. Now, I have, since the start of 2020, I have been trying to cut down on what I'm buying. I told you in previous videos, adulting is not fun. Adulting is expensive. So I haven't had as much kind of disposable income to kind of go on books. But that doesn't mean I haven't been buying any. So that is what I want to show you here today. I have got a selection of books. I've got some library books. I've got some fiction. I've got some non-fiction. I've got some books that literally came about 10 minutes ago, just before I started to set up to film this, that I still want to share with you and maybe talk to you about how I've still been accessing books, but trying not to spend as much money, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Okay, let's start off with, what should we start with? Before I start, I should say these books are kind of I've acquired them in whatever way I've acquired them, December 2019, January 2020 and February 2020. Okay, let's start with the library books. I haven't started any of these yet, but it is one advantage when you work in a school library or a sixth form library, as I do, that you can have some input into what's bought. Let me pull you back a bit here. You can have some input into what's bought, and that also means you can take them out. Yay! So these are my library books from where I work. We are going to start off with, and I haven't read these yet. They're There by Tommy Orange. Sorry, my lighting, you see that? They're There by Tommy Orange. I first saw this referenced on Books and Lala. Kayla over at Books and Lala's channel, and essentially it's kind of, I believe it's set around, it's kind of indigenous. I don't know if the author's indigenous, but it's definitely own voices, and it talks about essentially all these different families that are off going towards the big Oakland powwow, and kind of how all their stories are going to intersect at this event. It really intrigued me. There was an opportunity to bring it into work, so I picked it up, and I will be reading that very, very soon. Another one that intrigued me, working with kids, working with 16 to 18 year olds, I need to kind of be as up to date as I can with awards and nominees for awards, and that is why we picked up The Ghosts and Jamal by Bridget Blankley. It is nominated for the 2019 Carnegie Awards, and that here in the UK essentially is the excellence in children's and young adult fiction or non-fiction for the previous year. So the results will come out in March. Does that make sense? I think that's how it is. Let me read you the blurb. This probably sums it up best. 13-year-old Jamal wasn't born to be a hero. Far from it. His epilepsy has marked him out as the bringer of bad spirits in his community in Nigeria, and so he has been banished to live alone on the fringes of the village. But then, a terrorist attack leaves him as the sole survivor, and everything changes. Shy, introverted Jamal will finally show the world what he's made of. Really interested, really intrigued. And another one is not probably one I would have picked up by choice, but I'm always intrigued to see what my students are reading, and one of their current obsessions is they've seen something on Netflix and they just like to read the book, or vice versa. Their current obsession is You. And this is the novelisation with the kind of the Netflix tie-in cover. You by Carolyn Kepnes. I am morbidly curious. I haven't watched the show. I know the gist of what it's about, but I'm kind of curious to see what they're so obsessed with. I've recently, for similar reasons, finally read the first book of the To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han series before I go on and watch the movie, just because I wanted to see what they like. That is why, and the only reason why, because I'm a scaredy cat, I'm picking this up. I'm very intrigued though. We've got a half-term break coming up, so I might read that over half-term, because then I can get it back to the kids, because they're all like, well, where's that extra copy of You? And I'm like, I've got it. I need to read it to understand. I've got to think about these things being down with the kids. Next up, I will show you, this was my post-Christmas haul in the kind of Boxing Day sales here in the UK. I went to my local Waterstones, which is one of the largest book retailers kind of in the UK, and it's spreading out in the world. And I picked up, 5 books in the post-Christmas sale. So this was, excuse me, from December, and some stunning editions that I got for like such bargain prices. To start off with, The God, or the sci-fi god, I'm just checking something on this, who is Neil Gaiman. One of his most popular novels recently, it's been put on at the National Theatre in London, is The Ocean at the End of the Lane, and they have produced, I mean, look at this, it's so pretty. This is the illustrated edition, so it's Neil Gaiman as author, illustrated by Elise Hurst. I have to pick, and I was like, I have to pick this up. This is absolutely something. I mean, if I crack open a page, see if I can find one of the illustrations for you, look at that. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And you know, I've never picked up the novel before, but I've had instances before where I say necessarily haven't picked up the original novel, but I picked up the illustrated edition and adored it more because I'm quite a visual person, so I'm really looking forward to getting into this one. Next up, pardon me that some of the labels are still on these. What I want to do, or one of my kind of personal targets over the next year, is to read more poetry. I don't think I put that in my goals video, but to read some more poetry. And thus, when I saw these next 2 books in the post-Christmas sales, I wanted to pick them up. So to start with, we have an anthology of poems called Dancing by the Light of the Moon by Giles Brandreth, and over 250 of your favourite poems to love and learn. So really focusing on why learning poetry, having a little poetry every day can be good, and again, just so much awesomeness. And then I also picked up, there's a series of these currently going on, and we have some in the library, but I also picked up, this is the English teacher nerd in me, a Shakespeare for every day of the year. I mean, firstly, this cover is everything. If I turn it, it all goes around the back as well. This is part of a series that they've done, a poem for every day of the year, a poem for every night of the year, Shakespeare for every day of the year. And it's just really fabulous. Literally, as you go through, it picks your days. I mean, let's look at what the one was for my birthday, which is February 5th. Troilus and Cressida, it gives you the date, it gives you the play and whereabouts it's from, bit of a synopsis, and then what goes on. It's so, so beautiful. And I'm kind of the person that I always want to learn more. And that's where this is coming in. So I'm really looking forward to this. I also got the audiobook to this because it was on, I think it was on the Audible sale, but it's got like Helena Bonham Carter and so many amazing actors and voice actors in particular. So I'm going to do a bit of this. I've listened to some, I haven't listened to others. Next up is another continuation in the series, which I will be going on to. I know book 5 has just come out, but this is A Map of Days, which is the 4th book in the Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children's series by Ransom Briggs. I've read books 1, 2 and 3. I know there was kind of a stop there, and there's going to be, I think, at least another trilogy. So I'm going to start with 4, hopefully go on to 5. 5 is The Conference of Birds, I think, came out in January. But again, you know, I've just picked out a random page. These books are so extra. I just absolutely love it. I just love how extra the books are. And the last one from my post-Christmas haul, again, another author who I'm trying to get into this year, and I probably am picking, you know, I'm just, you know, looking at this, I know it kind of isn't at the start of this author's series, but it just grabbed me and I was like, God, that's pretty. This was definitely a cover purchase. Brandon Sanderson. I haven't gone into his works yet. I tried Elantris, but I couldn't get on with it, so I put it down for then. But this is Brandon Sanderson's Edge Dancer, and it is a Stormlight Archive novella. And it says on the back, it sits between the adventures of Words of Radiance and Oathbringer. The Stormlight Archives, I think, you know, people have said, is it Mistborn or is it Stormlight Archives? As what to do and where to go first, but I thought this is just a nice titchy little book that might give me a flavour for his writing, so hopefully then I can dive more into the series, if that makes sense. But definitely another author I'm hoping to pick up from this year. Continuing on, these are some more books I picked up around the end of December and into the start of January. So first up we have, and I'm so dying to get into this, the follow-up to one of my favourite books of 2019, Children of Blood and Bone, Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi. It is a signed exclusive edition. Look at those sprayed edges, absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at the fit. I wouldn't want to mess with her. Would you want to mess with her? I wouldn't want to mess with her. I am so excited to continue with this series. Tomi Adeyemi just has a cinematic way with her words, and I know there's talk that Children of Blood and Bone, you know, we're talking about a possible film adaptation. Totally see it. Love the series, love the sass, love the girl power, love everything about it. Can't wait to dig into this. When I picked up Children of Virtue and Vengeance, I also picked up, it was a book that I have the paperback copy of. I read in 2019, I really enjoyed. But the same author released a new book towards the end of last year, and this will all make sense in a minute. So they put out a new edition of her first novel that was really successful for her. The writer is Erin Morgenstern. Starless Sea came out at the back end of last year, and I'm still to read that as well. But they also, look at this, they released a new cover bind-up for the Night Circus. Look at this. It is stunning. Look at this. It's just, oh, I saw it and I was like, I've got the paperback copy. I don't care. Look at this. And I mean, blue sprayed edges, which you can see. Let me show you some of the end pages. You know, this is the kind of opening title page. Can you see? And this was literally, I was like, I need this in my life. I don't care how much it costs. Nice and simple underneath still. But I was like, I need this in my life. It's so pretty. I read, it's a good job I enjoyed the Night Circus, because to be fair, if I hadn't, it's so pretty, I still would have bought it. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. You know I'm a cover girl. You know I like my cover buys. Speaking of cover buys, one thing I also got slightly obsessed with at the end of last year, on BBC TV here, and I think it was on BBC America, they did a televised series of His Darkest Materials by Philip Pullman, and it struck me that it's been years and years since I read it, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to pick up some copies and I'm going to do a full reread. I saw these covers. You've got to look at these covers with me, okay? Northern Lights, look at that. Ugh. Northern Lights, I don't think I have these in the right order, I'm sorry if I don't. The Subtle Knife and the Amber Spyglass. I mean, for God's sake, have you ever seen anything more beautiful? Look at those. So pretty. That is awesome. I'm trying to, you know, go for some more classics this year as well. Moving into February, moving into January 2020. Some books I picked up at the start of January, when I had a little bit of give in my wage packet, so I was like, books. Again, reading some at the moment, still going. I have The Night Country by Melissa Albert. This is the sequel to The Hazelwood. Look at the colour, look at the colour, look at the blue tinge to this. Hazelwood is going to be on an upcoming TBR, so I'm really looking forward to going straight onto this. I also picked up Hannah Cappin's Foul is Fair. All I know about this is essentially it's a Macbeth retelling, or kind of the Three Witches from Macbeth retelling, where I believe, and if I'm wrong, I apologise, that it's something like there's this group of girls, one of them I think gets raped, and it's the other three girls going out for revenge. And it's like horrific and amazing and really exciting. I've also got another one. I think it was her debut. She released last year, The Dead Queen's Club, which was a loose retelling of Henry VIII and his wives to read as well. So very much looking forward to that one. I have got a new fantasy, Throne of Swans by Catherine and Elizabeth Core. Gorgeous artwork. I mean, look at this. And I know the premise of this. This was another one I started reading and I put down for now, so I will come back to this, where you have this kingdom where all the kind of higher class families in this kingdom can all transform, I can't speak today, sorry, into different kind of birds. But then there is the king, the current king dies, and his daughter, who's the main character in our story, Aderin, she is actually keeping the secret that she currently can't transform, and that like she will be dethroned if they find out. And yeah, really interested to this one. I blame a really dear friend of mine, Jamie Lee, for me picking this one up, and I've got another one to blame her for in a minute. I have got I believe this is an anthology, 19 Love Songs by David Levithan. I read Two Boys Kissing about a year ago now, and it is simply by David Levithan, and it's simply one of the most stunning things I've ever read in my life. I sobbed. I recommend it to everybody. It goes on every display where I work. So I was interested in this. This is short stories, different takes on love and love songs, and a celebration of love, particularly appropriate for February. And for the last one in this section, I also picked up, again, look at that sprayed edge. Blue seems to be the colour. One of Us is Next by Karen M. McManus. This is the follow-up to One of Us is Lying, which was really successful for Karen M. McManus. That was her debut 2 books ago. Now, full disclosure, I wasn't the biggest fan of One of Us is Lying. I don't know if that's me. I know I'm not the target audience for it, but I wasn't the biggest fan. I thought it was okay. I thought the reveal was a bit meh, because it was also another murder mystery, and this is like the sequel set in the same world. But the students I work with are obsessed with one of us. Is like absolutely obsessed with it. So I was like, do you know what? Let's give it another chance. I know it's kind of a progression from the first book, but I definitely want to give it another chance. I haven't read the kind of in between one of hers, which is in a different world. Two Can Keep a Secret yet, but I'm really intrigued to pick that up as well. So I'm gonna give it a go. I don't know what I'll think, but I'm gonna give it a go. That's all you girl can do, really. And into the final section of this book haul. These are my most recent purchases, all of which I've bought either used or second hand. So I am able to, with the exception of two in this pile. These are all second hand books and they're still good enough quality, but it cut my costs down. So that's the way I've done it. Let's start off with The Wicker King by Kay Ancrum. Now this all stems from the goddesses that are Julie from Pages and Pens, Mel from Mel to the NE, Chelsea Palmer, I think everyone. Kay Ancrum's second book, The Weight of Our Stars, is their favourite book, one of their favourite books of last year, and they go on and on and on about it. And it's intrigued me greatly, so I have picked up a copy of The Weight of Our Stars for a future upcoming project. Stay tuned for that. But I thought also that I got a really decent price on this one, The Wicker King. What I'm particularly intrigued about this is, can you see? Something happens. I know there's something like fire and elements of fire and pyromania in this, but look at that for the edges. So I've picked this up on there, you know, because they speak so highly of it. So I'm really excited to dive into that one. Another one I picked up at a reduced price, and this is because I've seen it everywhere as well. And I am completely, totally ready to have my heart destroyed by A Heart in the Body of the World by Deb Coletti. Based on real events, a woman, something happens to our main character and she decides to start running across the country, I think from the west coast to the east coast of America. That's all I know. I know it's going to destroy every single emotion that I have. And I'm really excited. Really excited for that one as well. Another one, a recommendation I picked up, and whether it's a recommendation or an inspiration, I will link it down below. One of the best, most genius booktube videos I've seen recently was Kayla over at Books and Lala, where she read Little Women and then went to see the movie, and she, you know, she stunned herself that she doesn't read classics, but she loved Little Women, and I kind of got inspired a little bit by that. So I did pick up a copy of Pride and Prejudice that is coming to me. That is one of my all-time favourite classics, but I was inspired by her so much I picked up a copy of Little Women, and I wanted this edition because I don't know if you can see this. This is from the Puffin in Bloom collection, so they've done a few classics in this kind of design, but I just couldn't get over how pretty this was. So yeah, Lala has inspired me. I'm going to try and read some classics, and I'm really excited about to start with that one. Next up, I'm just trying to look what else I've got down here. This came in the post yesterday, Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman. This is the 3rd edition of her male romance story. These are the kind of bind-ups. It's so cute. I don't know if you can see. It's the cutest, most precious thing. Volume 1 and Volume 2 have gone down so well with the public, with my students. My students are obsessed with Volume 1 and Volume 2, so I'm really intrigued. That will be a nice, fun, light read for me. Really intrigued to see where that goes. And then we go into the next. I've got 4 books left. The first 3 are ones that I got bought from a shop yesterday. Do you know what? I was having a bad day and I wanted to treat myself. So I went and bought myself some books. Could I afford it? No, probably not. But sometimes you've got to do what you've got to do. So the first one I picked up, and this is because I've seen it in different places and it kind of really intrigued me, particularly appropriate here in the UK. It's LGBTQ plus History Month, is Queer There and Everywhere, 23 People Who Changed the World by Sarah Prager. And essentially it's in a short bit of the blurb. In Queer There and Everywhere, activist Sarah Prager gives voice to 23 people who invented, radicalised and trailblazed. These inspiring stories, true stories, demonstrate how rich and varied gender and sexuality have been in every culture, in every millennium. From long ago heroes like the gender-ambiguous Queen of Sweden and a transgender soldier who risked death fighting in the Civil War, to modern figures like the transgender tennis player who won a court case to play as a woman, and a drag queen who organised against police brutality in San Francisco. Not only have queer people always existed, they have always thrived, always learning, always supportive, just everything. Next book, I mentioned earlier about Throne of Swans being down to my dear friend Jamie Lee. You can find her, she makes pin badges. She's on Instagram at litpins and co. She currently has the most stunning Nevernight pin over on there, and she's awesome. She works in one of the bookstores in central Birmingham, and I love her to death. We've literally become friends over our love of books and me going in her bookstore really, really regularly. And one of her kind of in-store picks was this one, The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep by H.G. Parry. I've literally picked this up because it's her recommendation, and she always gives me really good recommendations. Give you an idea of the blurb. It's a debut from H.G. Parry. For his entire life, Charlie Sutherland has concealed an unusual ability he can't quite control. He can bring characters from books into the real world. But when literary characters start causing trouble throughout the city and threatening to destroy the world, he learns he's not the only one with this ability. Now it's up to Charlie and his reluctant older brother Rob to stop them, hopefully before they reach the end. I love this idea of books in books in book. That's why I'm so excited to read The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern as well. So I know I'm going to love that because she always gives me really, really good recs. And another one I picked up, loving the sprayed edges, and also one of the most beautiful covers. The Mercies by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. I adored reading, I think it was in December I read it, The Deathless Girls by the same author, which was kind of a Brides of Dracula retelling. Firstly, look at that cover. Isn't it the most stunning thing you've ever seen in your life? But this is based on the true events of, let me get the right name, the real events of the Vardo Storm and the 1621 witch trials. Also, hello. Just, you know I love me a pretty book. You know I love me a pretty book. So yeah, again, based on true events, the Vardo Storm is set in Norway. I've been to Norway a couple of years ago. It's one of the most stunning places I've ever seen in my life. Really excited. She does such beautiful atmospheric writing. I just can't wait to dive into this one. I need 2 weeks off work to read all these books. And the last book in this book haul is one I'm particularly excited about. I was literally speaking to Jamie Lee about this yesterday when I picked this up. And it is, I believe this is the American comics. I think it's out in the States already, but I am so excited to read this. I literally have no idea. And that is The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith. This is another one of those books in books in books kind of things, but this just, I'm going to be obsessed with this. I know I'm going to be obsessed with this. Where are we? Many years ago, Claire was named head librarian of the Unwritten Wing, a neutral space in hell where all stories unfinished by their authors reside. Her job consists mainly of repairing and organising books, but also of keeping an eye on the restless stories that risk materialising as characters and escaping the library. When a hero escapes from his book and goes in search of its author, Claire must track and capture him with the help of former muse and current assistant, Brevity, and the nervous and sweet demon Leto. But what should have been a simple retrieval goes horrifyingly wrong when the terrifying angel Ramiel, we'll go with, attacks them, convinced they hold the Devil's Bible. The text of the Devil's Bible is a weapon in the power struggle between heaven and hell, so it falls to the librarians to find a book with the ability to reshape the boundaries between heaven, hell, and earth. I'm going to be obsessed with this and I can't wait. There was another one, someone posted a tweet. Was it Chandler? Someone posted a tweet and said that essentially in this book, librarians duel with each other, not with swords. They give a quote from a book. That quote then materialises into a physical weapon that goes towards their opponent. The only way that their opponent can stop themselves being stabbed, murdered, killed is to name where the book that's from. That's ridiculous. I'm just like, that's so clever, and I'm so absolutely ready for this book. It's going to be amazing. So that is it from my long overdue book haul. What books did you see that you like the look of? You picked up any recommendations? Where the hell should I start? Give me a recommendation. Where the hell do I need to start with all this? Because I'm going to read, and I'm so excited to read every single one. Love any tips and advice of what I should prioritise. Thank you for coming over to visit me, folks. If you want to follow me up on social media, all my links are down below. This is Olivia. This has been Stagey Bookish, and I will see you, amazing folk, on my next video. Bye-bye!